Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to start with the chapter 1 of famous book Kafka on the Shore, written by best novelist Haruki Murakami. So let's get started. Chapter 1. Cash isn't the only thing I take from my father's study when I leave the home. I take a small old gold lighter. I like the design and feel of it, and a folding knife with a really sharp blade, made to skin deer. It was a 5-inch blade and a nice heft, probably something he bought on the one of his trip abroad. I also take a sturdy bright pocket flashlight out of a drawer, plus sky blue Revo sunglasses to disguise my age. I think about taking my father's favorite sea dweller oyster Rolex. It's a beautiful watch, but something flashy will only attract attention. My cheap plastic Casio watch with an alarm and stopwatch will do just fine and might actually be more useful. Reluctantly, I return the Rolex to its drawer. From the back of another drawer, I take out a photo of me and my older sister when we were little, the two of us on a beach somewhere with greens plastered across our faces. My sister's looking off to the side, so half her face is in shadow and her smile is neatly cut in half. It's like one of those Greek tragedy masks in a textbook that's half one idea and half the opposite. Light and dark, hope and despair, laughter and sadness, trust and loneliness. For my part, I am staring straight ahead, undoubted at the camera. Nobody else is there at the beach. My sister and I have on swimsuits. Hers a red floral print one piece, mine some baggy old blue trunks. I am holding a plastic stick in my hand. White foam is washing over our feet. Who took this and where and when? I have no clue. And how could I have looked so happy? And why did my father keep just that one photo? The whole thing is a total mystery. I must have been 3, my sister 9. Did we ever really get along that well? I have no memory of ever going to the beach with my family. No memory of going anywhere with them. No matter, though, there is no way I am going to leave that photo with my father. So I put it in my wallet. I don't have any photos of my mother. My father threw them all away. After giving it some thought, I decide to take the cell phone with me. Once he finds out I have taken it, my father will probably get the phone company to cut off service. Still, I toss it into my backpack along with the adapter. Doesn't add much weight, so why not? When it doesn't work anymore, I will just chuck it. Just the bare necessities, that's all I need. Choosing which clothes to take is the hardest thing. I will need a couple sweaters and pair of underwear. But what about shirts and trousers? Gloves, mufflers, shorts, a coat? There is no end to it. One thing I do know, though, I don't want to wander around some strange place with a huge backpack that screams out, "Hey everybody, check out the runaway." Do that, and someone is sure to sit up and take notice. Next thing you know, the police will haul me in and I will sent straight home if I don't wind up in some gang first. Any place Cold is definitely out. I decide. Easy enough. Just choose the opposite. A warm place. Then I can leave the coat and gloves behind and get by with half the clothes. I pick out, wash, and wear type things. The lightest one I have, fold them neatly, and stuff them in my backpack. I also pack 3 season sleeping bag, the kind that rolls up nice and tight, toilet stuff, a rain poncho, notebook and pen, a Walkman and 10 discs. Got to have my music along with a spare rechargeable battery. That's about it. No need for any cooking gear, which is too heavy and takes up too much room. Since I can buy food at the local convenience store, it takes a while, but I'm able to subtract add lot of things from my list. I add things, cross them off, then add a whole other bunch and cross them off too. My 15th birthday is the ideal time to run away from home. And earlier, and it would be too soon. Any later, and I would have missed my chance. During my first 2 years in junior high, I had worked out training myself for this day. I started practicing judo in the first couple years of grade school and still went sometime in junior high. But I didn't join any school teams. Whenever I had the time, I'd jog around the school grounds, swim, or go to the local gym. The young trainers there gave me free lessons, showing me the best kind of stretching exercise and how to use the fitness machines to bulk up. They taught me which muscles you use every day, which one can only be built up with machines, even the correct way to do a bench press. I'm pretty tall to begin with, and with all this exercise, I have developed pretty broad shoulder and pecs. Most strangers would take me for 17. If I ran away looking my actual age, you can imagine all the problems that would cause. Other than the trainers at the gym and the housekeeper who comes our house every other day, and of course the bare minimum required to get by at school, I barely talk to anyone. For a long time, my father and I have avoided seeing each other. We live under the same roof, but our schedules are totally different. He spends most of his time in his studio, far away, and I do my best to avoid him. The school I am going to is a private junior high for kids who are upper class or at least rich. It's the kind of school where, unless you really blow it, you are automatically promoted to the high school on the same campus. All the students dress neatly, have nice straight teeth, and are boring as hell. Naturally, I have zero friends. I have built a wall around me, never letting anybody inside and trying not to venture outside myself. Who could like somebody like that? They all keep an eye on me from distance. They might hate me or even be afraid of me, but I am just glad they didn't bother me because I had tons of things to take care of, including spending a lot of my free time devouring book in the school library. I always paid close attention to what was said in class, though. Just like the boy named Crow suggested, the facts and techniques or whatever they teach you in class isn't going to be very useful in real world. That's for sure. Let's face it, teachers are basically a bunch of morons. But you have get to remember this. You are running away from home. You probably won't have any chance to go to school anymore. So, like it or not, you would better absorb whatever you can while you have got the chance. Because like a sheet of blotting paper and soak it all in. Later on, you can figure out what to keep and what to unload. I did what he said, like I almost always do. My brain, like a sponge, I focused on every word said in class and let it all sink in, figured out what it meant, and committed everything to memory. Thanks to this, I barely had to study outside of class, but always came out near the top on exams. My muscles were getting hard as steel, even as I grew more withdrawn and quiet. I tried hard to keep my emotions from showing so that no one, classmate and teachers alike, had a clue what I was thinking. Soon I had been launched into rough adult world, and I knew I would have to get tougher than anybody if I wanted to survive. My eyes in the mirror are cold as a lizard, my expressions fixed and unreadable. I can't remember the last time I laughed or even showed a hint of smile to other people, even to myself. I'm not trying to imply I can keep up this silent, isolated facade all the time. Sometimes the wall I have erected around me comes to crumbling down. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes before I even realize what's going on. There I am, naked and defenseless, and totally confused. At times like that, I always feel an omen calling out to me, like a dark, omnipresent pool of water. A dark, omnipresent pool of water. It was probably always there, hidden away somewhere. But when the time comes, it silently rushes out, chilling every cell in your body. You drown in that cruel flood, gasping for breath. You cling to vent near the ceiling, struggling, but the air you manage to breathe is dry and burns your throat. Water and thirst, cold and heat, these supposedly opposite elements combine to assault you. The world is huge space, but the space that will take you in, and it doesn't have to be very big, is nowhere to be found. You seek a voice, but what do you get? Silence. You look for silence, but guess what? All you hear over and over and over is the voice of this omen. And sometimes this prophetic voice pushes a secret switch hidden deep inside your brain. Your heart is like a greater river after a long spell of rain spilling over its banks. All signposts that once stood on the ground are gone, inundated and carried away by that rush of water, and still the rain beats down on the surface of river. Every time you see a flood like that on the news, you tell yourself, that's it, that's my heart. Before running away from home, I wash my hands and face, trim my nails, swab out my ears, and brush my teeth. I take my time, making sure my whole body is well scrubbed. Being really clean is sometimes the most important thing there is. I gaze carefully at my face in the mirror. Jeans I had gotten from my father and mother. Not that I have any recollection of what she looked like created this face. I can do my best to not let any emotions show. Keep my eyes from revealing anything. Bulk up my muscle, but there is not much I can do about my looks. I am stuck with my father's long, thick eyebrows and the deep lines between them. I could probably kill him if I wanted to. I am sure strong enough and I can erase my mother from my memory. But there is no way to erase the DNA they passed down to me. If I wanted to drive that away, I would have to get rid of me. There is an omen contained in that. A mechanism buried inside me. A mechanism buried inside of you. I switch off the light and leave the bathroom. A heavy, damp stillness lies over the house. The whisper of people who doesn't exist, the breath of the dead. I look around, standing stock still, and take a deep breath. The clock shows 3 p.m. The two hands cold and distant. They are pretending to be non-committal, but I know they are not on my side. It's nearly time for me to say goodbye. I pick up my backpack and slip it over my shoulders. I have carried it anyway numbers of times, but now it feels so much heavier. Shikoku, I decide. That's where I'll go. There is no particular reason it has to be Shikoku, only that studying the map I got the feeling that's where I should head. The more I look at the map, actually every time I study it, the more I feel Shikoku tugging at me. It's far south of Tokyo, separated from the mainland by water. With a warm climate, I have never been there, have no friends or relatives there. So if somebody started looking for me, which I kind of doubt, Shikoku would be the last place they would think of. I pick up the ticket I had reserved at the counter and climb aboard the night bus. This is the cheapest way to get to Takamastu. Just a shade over 90 bucks. Nobody pays me any attention, asks how old I am, or gives me second look. The bus driver mechanically checks my ticket. Only a third of the seats are taken. Most passengers are traveling alone, like me, and the bus is strangely silent. It's a long trip to Takamastu. 10 hours according to the schedule, and we will be arriving early in the morning. But I don't mind. I have got plenty of time. The bus pulls out of the station at 9, and I push my seat back. No sooner do I settle down than my consciousness, like a battery that's lost its charge, start to fade away, and I fall asleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, a hard rain begins to fall. I wake up every once in a while, part the chintzy curtain at the window, and gaze out at the highway rushing by. Raindrops beat against the glass, blurring streetlight alongside the road that stretch off into the distance at identical intervals, like they were set down to measure the earth. A new light rushes up close and in an instant faded off behind us. I check my watch and I see it's past midnight. Automatically showed to the front. My 15th birthday makes its appearance. Hey, happy birthday, the crow said. Thanks, I replied. The omen is still with me, though, like a shadow. I check to make sure the wall around me is still in place. Then I close the curtain and fall back asleep.